comedians Vince Barnett and Irwin coming up on The It Factory. It's an It Factory double play, and we have two featured comedians for you this time. Backstage at the So You Think You're Funny Comedy Finals, we talked to Irwin, a stand-up comic and promoter from New York, and Vince Barnett, known for his clean-cut comedy style. All right, I'm sitting here with Irwin. We're at the Clarion Hotel, but it's EJ's Landing inside the Clarion Hotel. And Irwin, what do you do here?
On Saturday nights, we run shows, comedy shows. Once a month we do a contest. Once a month we do a regular book show with features. And sometimes it's an open mic. We keep the schedule on the MySpace page to help people understand when things are.
And what is the MySpace page?
Kaleidoscope Comedy. That's the name of the comedy group.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this?
EJ's Landing's comedy night has been in play now a little over a year and a half.
A little over a year and a half?
Yeah.
And have you been doing comedy in D.C.?
Myself?
Yeah.
For about 2 years.
For just 2 years. Where are you from?
I'm in New York.
Okay. How did you get here?
By accident.
Tell me a story.
20 years ago, graduated college, couldn't find a job, had a friend with a job down here, brought me down to work with him. I thought I'd be here a couple of years, ended up the old get married, have kids, get divorced, have kids, no. But, and just ended up staying, so
okay.
It's just how it ended up.
And where can we see you in addition to the DC area? Have you done tours recently?
I've been up in New York. I've done many of the clubs in New York. I've done the Reading Comedy Outlet up in Reading, Pennsylvania. I do some shows also just locally that are done by other promoters. I do some shows with a gentleman named Jim Pate, who will actually be in the show is in our finals, this show that we're at now. So I do some shows in Virginia.
Okay.
Branching out as I go. I mean, 2 years in comedy is kind of like infancy. Yeah, it's the infancy of comedy. Yeah, most of the comics you see on TV, they've been doing it probably 15 years before they get discovered. So us little amateurs try to do what we can while we have it.
Okay. Now, as a baby, you've been in New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, D.C. Give me the lowdown and the dirt. Which audience is like what?
The audiences in New York, because they relate to me, are probably my best audience. Okay. They're really into comedy. The audiences at the two clubs in Baltimore are really good. Magooby's Joke House and Baltimore Comedy Factory have been very good. Most of the audiences that I've done, they're good. It's the ones where they have to bring people. They're forced into bringing all sorts of people, and sometimes those people just are there for their friend and they don't get into the laughing.
Okay.
But whenever it's a club, and we get great crowds here too that laugh, but New York's probably my best.
Okay. And it's only because you're from New York?
I'm a New Yorker.
Okay. Once
a New Yorker, always a New Yorker. I mean, I'm here, but you ask any New Yorker, that's what they'll say.
That's true. Now, what do you think you're going to do differently in D.C. to try to make us that kind of audience for you?
Keep running shows.
Okay.
Keep working on shows, keep promoting shows, build a base, and put quality on the stage. That's probably the biggest thing you can do to make the audience appreciate it. Because at first they come here for their friends, and then all of a sudden they go, wait, these comics are good. And the audience builds and gets into it, and all of a sudden you get this big reaction. And that's what's happening with EJ's. Our early contests, you get 30 people, 40 people, 50 people. And it's built up to where for the finals, 170 people. So it builds well.
Now, what is the actual name of the competition?
So You Think You're Funny.
So You Think You're Funny. And we're actually behind the scenes right now for the 2008 finals.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what are you going to do this year to keep it going, and how can other comedians contact you so they can get on?
First thing is they can always go to dcstandup.com, which is probably the best resource for anybody who wants to get into comedy. Tells you where all the open mics are, where all the shows are, all the venues, and the different types of things you can go do. And that's where this contest is always listed each month. Everybody's welcome.
Okay.
It's the monthly ones. We do one every month, and the monthly ones are audience vote. And after that, we take the top 3 from each month, and we bring them to what we call the semifinals. We also take some wild card comics who got a really good reaction, but didn't quite make the top 3. So we end up in the semifinals. You got your 9 top 3s, and then we usually add in like 3 or 4 others to kind of make a nice round show.
Okay.
And then the top 3 from the semifinals end up in the finals.
Good. Okay. Well, we hope to get some more people out, and we are at EJ's Landing,
Right.
Clarion Inn in College Park.
Yes.
And this is Irwin. So
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Still behind the scenes at the So You Think You're Funny
So You
competition.
Think You're Funny.
We got the finals. I have comedian Vince Barnett here. I'm just going to ask you, how did you get here to this point?
To this point, had to win a couple of contests. Had to beat out some real funny comedians, which I was surprised at. I think I'm funny, but these guys are really good. So
And it's an audience vote.
it's audience vote.
So how does that make you feel? Just the audience picked you, not just somebody said, you right there, you're on the show.
It makes me feel good because that means the audience like my performance. I put a lot into my routine, so to get that type of feedback numerous times, that feels really good.
Okay, now we are in College Park, Maryland. Are you originally from this area?
I'm actually originally from Philly.
Philly?
Grew up in Philadelphia.
How did you get to D.C.?
It's a long story.
Life story.
A couple of life changes. Went through a divorce, and I had to relocate. Some things happened in my life, so I came down here, and that's how I landed in Maryland, D.C.
Did you always do comedy in D.C.?
Well, it's a funny story how I started in comedy. If you don't mind me.
No, please.
About 8 years ago, my ex-brother-in-law, he's a comedian, he's pretty well known actually, and he needed somebody to stand in for him for a show.
Okay.
It was in Atlantic City at a club called Sweet Cheeks.
Okay.
After 20
like
seconds.
the sounds?
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, it was rough. I was up there for about 20 seconds. I got booed off the stage. So that was my indoctrination in comedy. I was like, you know what? I got a job. I don't need to do this. So, but fast forward 8 years later, some life changes, and I come down to Maryland, and I'm out one night. I was like, let me go check out the comedy scene. I need some laughter, because it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
So came down and went to a couple of open mic shows. I said, I can do this. Let me try it again. So I went to an open mic and started doing comedy.
Okay. Have you been compared to anybody, big name?
I compare myself to, like, being from Philly. A lot of great comics come out of Philly. Bill Cosby.
Okay.
And the only reason I say it is because I try to keep my routines like 100% clean, and I don't use curse words. Some of my jokes are a little racy, but for the most part, it's very clean. I have an 11-year-old son, and I run a lot of my jokes by him. If I can't run it by him, then I won't take it on stage. So.
Okay. Other than getting booed that one time, your first time out, give me your worst stage experience.
That would be the worst.
That's it?
You know what? Actually, that was the worst and the best. It's funny she asked me that because if it wasn't for that experience, that was kind of fueled me when I got back on stage. I said, you know what? I don't ever want that to happen again.
Okay.
So I remembered how that went down, and how the crowd responded, and they almost started throwing things on the stage. But I said, you know what? Let me go up there and give it a shot. And if I made it past 20 seconds, then I can do it. So.
Okay.
What?
I won't say. I was going to say, if you meet a girl, what's something you can say to make a woman laugh? First time you meet her, you're funny. Do you always try to be funny right away?
No, like I have this one joke about online dating. Being divorced. I had to try to get back out there on the dating scene. And one of the things I did was do online dating. So. A lot of the girls I had met when I was doing that, I asked them, is that really you in the picture? Things like, because I know, like, the smaller the picture, the profile, the larger the girl. So, this one girl sent me a picture just of her eye. Stuff like, that's the kind of stuff you deal with.
YouTube picture of my eye.
Exactly. That's just a taste.
I'm just mad because my YouTube little picture of my eye.
For real?
They give you weight in kilos instead of pounds. 130 kilos is 275 pounds. Like little stuff.
You do the commercial.